Good morning, everyone. I am Monica Vallier, and welcome to this week's episode of More to Life. I've got today helping me introduce our topic, my brand new bunny. This is Daisy. Daisy came to us only, just less than a week ago, and she was abandoned outside. She was found outdoors, and her owners could not be found. So I don't know. What's one more? Now I have four. I'm the crazy bunny lady. I don't know what happened, but she's super sweet. And this is Daisy. So she's going to help me introduce today's topic, which is feelings are your friends, even the bad ones. Okay. So I am Monica. I am your friendly neighborhood sparkle coach. I'm going to pass off the bunny now though, but here is today's sparkle. There's always got to be some sparkle, guys. You know me. So I am a sparkle coach. My mission is to help people who feel like they have lost their sparkle, like that, that nagging feeling like something is missing from your life, that everything's just kind of monotonous and, there's just nothing to really spark you to make you feel passionate or vibrant or joyful in your life anymore. Sometimes that stuff just kind of falls to the wayside, and my mission is to bring that back for you. And I go about this by kind of working through a bunch of different areas in your life to help you feel more sparkly overall. So what we're talking about today is feelings, okay? So your feelings are your friends, even the bad ones. I know it's really easy to feel good. We always are like, that's what we want. We want to feel good. We want to avoid the bad as much as we can. But unfortunately, that is not how life works. There are unpleasant emotions. Obviously, we've all gone through all kinds of things in our lives. And what I want to talk about today is what happens when we don't face these emotions, when we repress them, when we avoid them, numbing, avoiding behaviors with habitual distractions. Last week, our topic was get in the zone and off your phone, right? And getting on your phone is a classic avoidance technique, especially if you're going through uncomfortable feelings, right? We just get on our phone and we pretend like it's not happening. And this is not a very successful strategy in the short term. Sure, it feels like you're, just not having to deal with it, and it's not going to hurt you short term. But I mean, if this is the kind of behavior that happens over a long period of time, if you're really not dealing with uncomfortable emotions, then this can really backfire if you're starting to become kind of like the mask of like a happy person, like everything's fine, right? Everything's just fine. Everything's fine. And underneath, it is not fine. And that's when you can really start to get into trouble. Okay, so I want you to think about the last time you had a really uncomfortable feeling, whatever it, and uncomfortable can be, jealousy, envy is an uncomfortable feeling. Obviously the more common things you would probably think of is like anger or sadness, fear even, anxiety, anything that kind of has come up for you in the last week or something like that. Just think about a time when you were feeling unpleasant, uncomfortable, or even really, really upset, okay? And so what happened when those emotions arose? Did you kind of accept them and go with it and feel it all out? Or did you just kind of push it down and feel like you couldn't handle it, so you were going to deal with it later? Okay, so just kind of think back to a time, and we're going to start to work through some points about how you can sort of, in a healthy way, begin to make friends with these feelings that you sometimes just want to get them the hell out of there as fast as possible. Okay, so for our 3 teaching points today, we're going to start with when you first start to experience an unpleasant emotion. The first thing I want you to start to do when you're getting into a place of like any of those emotions we talked about earlier, fear, sadness, anger, despair, envy, any of those kind of things, what is your tendency with those feelings? Are you going to be in the tendency of repressing? Are you going to spiral into that feeling and just kind of let it consume you completely? Do you just get annoyed? Do you get annoyed with the feeling and start to be like, oh, I shouldn't be feeling that. Like, oh, I'm a stronger person than this. Or, one of the things that I don't really love is when people just are like, oh no, good vibes only, good vibes only. Like, yeah, good vibes are great, but the fact is we have not great vibes sometimes, and that's just part of humanity. It's part of being human. So the first step is just noticing what happens when you start to have uncomfortable emotions, and then we move on from there to step 2, which is actually giving yourself time to allow the feelings. Okay, so I remember a little story about welcoming feelings. I can't remember where I heard this, but imagine that each one of your feelings is like knocking on the door, and the door is to your house, the house of you, right? And so this feeling knocks on the door, and when it's a happy feeling, you're like, yeah, come on in, let's party, let's hang out, let's have a cup of tea together, But then a bad feeling knocks on the door, and you're like, nope, see you later, I don't want you here. But this is actually not what's going to get you through the feeling and onto the other side. Actually welcoming that unpleasant feeling into your home in just the same open, compassionate way that you would a good feeling. So even that anger, when it's knocking on the door, open the door and you're like, okay, anger, you are here. Come on in, let's sit, let's talk, let's figure out what's going on. So with this second step, I want you to actually sit with the feeling. And I know this is actually quite uncomfortable for a lot of people, especially if you're used to repressing negative feelings. So I would start small. You can actually even set a timer, like set a 5-minute timer to start. Then you can, start to move it up to 10 or 15 minutes. And just sit with the feeling and ask it to become as big as it wants to be. So you are not shutting it down in any way, shape, or form. You are just like, okay, take me over and express yourself fully, completely. I'm here. I'm going to listen. I'm going to take it all in. Okay. So you do this, and again, start small at first. And I want you to be really interested in what happens. Like, this is kind of the observer mindset, right? Where you're not becoming the anger necessarily, or the sadness, or the grief, or the envy. You are watching it. You are watching how it feels in your body, experiencing physical sensations that it creates. You are watching it in kind of a loving way, and just kind of saying, okay, anger, I hear you. I hear you. You're here for a reason. Let's let it out. So once you have invited that feeling to become as big as it wants to be, and then you can, once your timer goes off, if you're using a timer, then you just kind of move into the rest of your day. But I want you to notice after that, over the next few hours, how has this affected you? Has the feeling begun to dissipate? And I'm going to tell you, if you do this practice for real, you guys, like, you can't just think about it, you actually have to do it. If you sit with that feeling, and I really feel like a good 10-15 minutes is a nice amount of time to let it be expressed, often you will notice that it starts to dissipate. It actually begins to just shift into a much less intense state of being in your body. And you might find that as you move through the rest of your day, it's not affecting you as much. It's not like 15 minutes is going to totally change what happened to create the mood, but you're expressing it. You're not holding it in. You're giving it that space to be. And if at any point throughout your day, you're feeling that same emotion, if it's coming back and you're getting really to the point where, again, you feel like you just want to repress it, try it again. See if you can give yourself another 5, 10, 15 minutes to really let that feeling out and into existence, so that you can observe what's happening and why it might be there to serve you. Okay. So if anyone has any questions about this process, please feel free to throw any questions in the comments here. I'm happy to answer those for any of your individual situations that might be coming up for you. And so again, just to recap, when you realize, step one, when you realize you're starting to experience some kind of negative emotion, watch what your tendency is. Do you repress it completely? Do you spiral into like a black hole of despair for like the rest of the day? Do you just get annoyed? Like what happens? Step two, give yourself a set amount of time to really let that feeling be as big as it wants to be. And then step three, check in over the next few hours, like through the rest of the day. How are you feeling? And has that emotion dissipated because of that time you gave it to be free and expressed? So that's the process. I hope this helps you guys. It's really helped me. I definitely have been through a lot of experiences. The birds are going off again here. A lot of experiences where I have both done like major repressing of feelings and also major spiraling, just like letting myself drift into, you know, these black holes of feelings for, you know, hours and hours at a time. And now I'm able to like not do those things as much and feel like I have a toolkit, like a strategy to help me sort of discover what these emotions are actually there for, what they're indicating to me. Because usually there is a real reason that your body is creating, your mind is creating these expressions of emotion. And we're going to get more into that in other weeks of topics. So thanks for watching. If you're interested in working more with me on this or any other topic, you can find me at www.seedsofjoylifecoaching.com. And I've got, for your pleasure and convenience, a 30-minute free intro session that you can book with me so we can get started on helping you to move into a healthier way of being, a sparklier way of being. And next week's episode of More to Life, we're going to be talking about do your friendships fit? So we're back into the finding your soul tribe topic here. And so do your friendships fit? The people that you surround yourselves with, how do they actually fit into your lives? Are they healthy relationships, not healthy relationships, or you know, we'll get more into it next week. Okay, so that'll be my theme on social media. You're going to start to get some interesting points of view on that topic. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will see you next week. And Pluto, do you want to come and say hi? Pluto says, bye everybody. See you next time.